Manchester United 3, Everton 0. A brilliant win for Erik ten Hag and his men. Martial getting on the score sheet. Rashford being handed that penalty by Bruno Fernandes to try and inject some confidence into the much maligned forward this year. But Alejandro Garnacho with, in my opinion, the best overhead kick ever scored in the Premier League. I'll put it above Wayne Rooney's, and I'll tell you why in this show. What a goal. 3 minutes in to silence the deafening crowd at Goodison Park. Everybody in their son, everybody in their dog, everybody in their mum, everybody I spoke to predicted an Everton win. They would have too much fight. There'd be too much noise. There'd be too much atmosphere at Goodison Park. And Alejandro Garnacho stepped up and scored one of the best goals you'll ever witness, probably the best goal he'll ever score in his career, to silence that crowd and give Manchester United a base and foundation to win from. United had some not some terrible times, but had some poor moments in that first half as well. Everton came on strong. The crowd got up. You could see the nervousness that still exists and the frailty that exists in this Manchester United team. But I want to talk about two individual players that got us through that. Two individuals for me that stood out above everybody else today, barring Garnacho and his goal. The first one was Andre Onana. Onana has been criticized heavily by a lot of people in his early Manchester United career, and rightfully so. There were some poor passes. There's some very simplistic shots that he allowed to slip through him, and he was behaving a little erratically, and he didn't look like the world-class goalkeeper we know him to be. But what we saw today from Onana was him at his very best. And I actually feel in the last 4 to 5 games, you've started to see him settle, him feel comfortable at Manchester United. And he pulled off 2 or 3. The pick of the bunch, I would say, would be the save from Gay's shot just after we went 2-0 up as well. That was bending delightfully into that top corner. The other 2 brilliant saves came between that spell between the 20th minute and the 30th minute. There was 2 saves in close succession from Andre Onana that was so pivotal and important. He was commanding in the air today. He was collecting his crosses. And today, for me, is the blueprint to exactly what you want to see from a Man United goalkeeper. Commanding in the box, good on his one-on-one, strong when it comes to stopping shots. And in recent games, I'm feeling more and more comfortable about him. Onana was great. Now, I want to speak about this young man, but I don't want to hype him up too much as well. But for me, Kobbie Mainoo is the epitome of a Manchester United midfielder. He was outstanding, fearlessly demanding the ball. He was composed and confident with every single touch. He was technically flawless. And he played with such maturity. You wouldn't have known this was his first start for Man United in the Premier League, let alone away at Goodison Park after their 10-point deduction and the cauldron of noise that he was facing. He went out there and dictated a midfield in his Premier League starting debut. And that, for me, shows a standard. The standard is the epitome of what a Man United midfielder should do. He, for me today, would be my overall man of the match. I understand why people would give it to Garnacho. That overhead kick was outrageous. But Mainoo today demonstrated why Man United fans are excited about him and his Manchester United career. Now, what I want to say about Mainoo is this, though. Let us not get carried away. So I want him to start against Galatasaray as an example. I know that's another cauldron. I know it's another bear pit. But I think you start him in the middle, I would say with Amrabat. I believe he can handle it. I believe he's got the ability to. But what I want to do with Kobbie is I don't want Man United fans getting carried away. So yes, today was the epitome of what I expect. It's the standard of what I expect. And I believe he can get to that level. but there will be inconsistencies from him. So don't talk about him. Genuinely, this is just my message. Don't talk about him like he is the complete player, like he has reached his peak, like he's world-class already. He's an immense talent who demonstrated the levels that he can get to today. Today, he was brilliant. But there will be some peaks and there will be some troughs. There will be some ups and downs. He is an 18-year-old starlet. But Man United need to be looking at him and earmarking him as a midfielder for the future. We should still be buying quality. We should still be, look, if Cass wants to go, as an example, we want better than Ericsson, we want better than McTominay. We should be looking to do that. But in our plans moving forward as a club, Kobbie Mainoo has got to be part of them because there is superb talent in him. And I've spoken about this many times on the terrace, whether it's about Man United or other clubs. You should see in one game whether a player has the star quality to reach the very top. What is the touch like? And something my dad taught me when I was very young about football. If a player looks like he's got all the time in the world, you know he's top class, or you know the talent is top class. And Mainoo has got an absolute gigantic ceiling above him talent-wise. But Man United fans have got to help nourish him and nurture him. He should not become our tool to beat other fans and other clubs and the media over the head with. Let him develop. Let him do it in as much peace and quiet as possible. No comparing him to Rodri. No comparing him to Declan Rice. Leave that out. That doesn't need to happen. I believe we have a talent here who has got the ability on par with all the other young central midfielders that are being purchased for 50 to 100 million pounds. I believe he's got that talent, but let us just nurture him. He's a Manchester lad off Stockport originally. I know some people in Manchester don't consider it Manchester, but he's from that area. He was absolutely brilliant today in every single way, shape, and form. He was great. And I know I mentioned his goal at the beginning, but Alejandro Garnacho, it's been a tough start to this season for him and all of our attackers. And there's so much about that goal I love. And the reason why I say it's the best overhead kick I've ever seen in the Premier League, it's better than Wayne Rooney's. So many factors. One, it was easily, it looked further out to me. It looked further away from goal than Wayne Rooney's was. The way he had to backstep 3 or 4 paces to get himself to that ball. I think he hit nearer the foot than Rooney did as well. But I also want to look at the player's age, the situation we're in at the moment where the manager's under tremendous pressure. We were away at Goodison Park and everybody was talking about us losing. To do that in the opening few minutes, in the context of this season, the pressure that he and all our other attackers are under, it is the best overhead kick I've ever seen. In the Premier League anyway, absolutely top drawer. And if Rooney's been goal was voted as the greatest goal in Premier League history, that would have something to do with it being a Manchester derby, a title race. United went on to win the title. That goal was part of it. So maybe that tips it over the edge. But if Rooney's is voted as the greatest ever, and this overhead kick is better than Rooney's, for me, this is one of the best goals ever scored in the Premier League. It was out of this world. Absolutely out of this world. And look, I want to praise him as well. He's another young kid who's been maligned, another young kid who's, again, we've probably bigged him up too much as fans. He's been used as a weapon to beat other fan bases over the head with, and he gets a lot of crap for it. There's a lot of pressure on him, but he did impeccably well today. I also want to shout out a few more things. The centre-back pairing today in Maguire and Lindelof, I thought they did their jobs well, although we did concede a lot of opportunities. And that for me is just because there is still too much nervousness in this team, but I'll come to that in a moment. I also think Martial deserves a bit of a shout out. Very poor first half from him and most of the attackers, if we're being honest, but he grew into the game and he started to really strike his stuff and grow some confidence in the latter stages. And his goal was excellent. I mean, in fact, him and Bruno were pivotal in both of our goals, the second and the third, really. But Martial took that so brilliantly well to get his I think it must be his first goal of the season, Man United's third. And I want to see more of that from him. We know he's still got that in his locker. And I want to see more of that from us as a team. We were more clinical today. I think we only had 3, maybe 4 shots on target in the whole game, and we buried them all. If I'm going to look at any negatives from today, I still think that it's a confidence issue. And I made a note of it in here. Too many touches, going backwards, poor mentality. And for me, we scored the goal, and the next 10 minutes we dominated, and slowly we let Everton back into the game. We were making silly passes at the back. We're booting it long. We're not being cool. We're not being calm. We're not being collected. And it really led to a lot of pressure being put on us by Everton. Onana and Mainoo specifically saving us on a number of occasions in that first half. In the second half, we had a bit more confidence about us. We were moving the ball quicker. We looked like we were stepping up 4, 5, 6, 7 yards further up the pitch. It made it easier for us. We played better football. But we were still panicking in the attack. Rashford today, I know he got his penalty. He had some good little moments, some good little touches here and there, but so often just doing the wrong thing consistently, panicking, overthinking, not staying cool and calm. But then we brought on Palestri, and that third goal, that third goal, again, epitomizes what I want to see from this Man United team more often. A team that will stay calm, stay cooler at times. He got the ball. And what Rashford would have done with the ball where Palestri is, because he's so desperate, not just to score to get his name on the score sheet, he's so desperate to do something to get his confidence back. He'd have just gone on the outside, tried to take the player on. He might have stepped on the ball, tripped over it. He might have got into the box before there's anybody to pass to. But Palestri, confident, held the ball up, waited for reinforces to arrive, and then played the ball inside to Bruno, who made, by the way, the pass from Bruno into, that's where Bruno's at his best. Fed it into Martial. He's, as I've already mentioned, his finish was absolutely ridiculous. The little dink over Pickford. But that goal came about because there was a calmness. And we saw the only midfield player today with calmness was Kobbie Mainoo. You bring on Palestri in the attack, who was a bit calmer. And it was fine. Bruno, by the way, when he's in and around the 18-yard box, where he should be, not deep, I like it. He's calm in that regard. He doesn't always play the right ball, but you can always see what he's trying to do. And that is what needs to be bred more into this football club, is calmness. We are sometimes too slapdash. And there's a saying my dad taught me as a kid, and it was less haste, more pace. It sounds better than less haste, more speed. That just doesn't rhyme enough for me, but it's true. But sometimes when you're a bit too hasty, when you're over trying, when you're actually giving too much, you can burn more energy than required. You make silly mistakes and it costs you. So that was the negative for me today, because there are still a lot of things to improve on, but we scored 3 goals. Biggest win in the Premier League this season, in my opinion. Moves us up, by the way, to 6th in the league. Only 2 points behind Tottenham, who were being lauded. But interestingly, away form wise, I'm going to do this on the screen in front of you all. Up to 4th in the league on away form, which is, and by the way, and we played a game less than City and Tottenham. And if we would have win our next away game, and that's Newcastle, we'd be the best team in the league away from home. So there are still some positives at Manchester United. There are still some areas, there's lots of areas for us to improve in, but we have won today, and I'm celebrating that win. I'm very, very happy with Mainoo. Over the moon with the improvements of Onana, because for me, we're now seeing exactly why he was purchased. And Kobbie, listen, I want to say this, like the goal from Garnacho, amazing. And Kobbie, listen, I've been waiting to see this kid start for Manchester United. I know there are some Man United fans that believe it's a money-saving exercise by the club. That's true if we get rid of all, we just keep promoting youngsters. We don't buy anybody. We do spend money on big players, and we will. We can't make him the linchpin and the centerpiece of our midfield. He needs to be built around and supported for the next few years, because there'll be peaks and troughs. But what a debut performance. The context of our season, the context of going to Everton after their points deduction. What a performance from him. The panel's coming out in a few moments, people, but if you haven't done so yet, please, title challenge, Terry, only 6 points off. What do you think? No, come on. We're not in a title challenge. The football isn't good enough as of yet. We're still conceding too many chances. There's still a lot of unbalance in the team, but we're not in a catastrophic position points-wise. But no, I'm nowhere near a title race for me. McNally here says, best goal in the Premier League history. Look, I think from a technique point of view, you could argue context of when the goal scored, who it's against, the ramifications of that goal, I think play into it. But it's up there. If Everton played till next season, they wouldn't score. Relegation team. I hear you on that. All this noise about sackings and our season being over just to end up 6 points off the top of the table, only at Man United. Look, I'm not going to change my mind about things that I've said, but I'm also don't have an agenda. So I'm not going to listen. I'll be speaking to Lee on Tuesday, but I'm not going to not celebrate a win and be happy when we play well or when we score great goals or when we've done the right thing. My overarching feeling about the manager hasn't overly changed. There was still some vulnerability in us today. But if that all starts to improve and we start to get better and better and better, I'll say I got it wrong and change my mind. It's not deep to me. A man like Josh, hope you're well, brother. Over there in New York, he says Garnacho and Mainoo inspired today. The team seemed to be focused for a clean sheet. Love the defensive intensity, but if we defend like that first half away at Newcastle, massacre. Completely agree, and I think it was a game of two halves today, and I liked a lot more in the second half. I still think again when Lissandro is back, when Casemiro is back. I want to see Amrabat start more. Højlund as well, I think still would have improved this to another level today. There's still some elements like that I want to see. But, and look, who else we going by in January is going to be important as well. Debbie here. Long time no speak, Debbie. Hope you're well, sweetheart. It says here, see, Terry, always trust a South American to save the day. Screw you, Spurs. Never compare yourself to my Barca. But I had to say who's South American. It's mad, isn't it? I just look at Garnacho as a mank because he comes from our academy. But yeah, I forget he's Argentinian. It's true. I'm not saying we're winning the title, but the drama around the manager's job needs to stop, especially when it's not even 20 games into the season. And we'll pose that question to the panel that are going to join me right now on the football terrace. We've got Cameron, we've got Staffy, we've got Han, and of course, we've got man like KJ. Prime does say here, points over performances, especially when things aren't going for you. Listen, I understand that to a degree, but we need performances to become sustainable so we can progress. So I think you need both. We have got the points when not performing badly. Now it's about getting those performances in. So I agree with you on that to a degree, brother. We've got Sunshine joining us as well now on the show. Welcome back, everybody. Big and important win for Man United. Sensational goal from Garnacho. I want to start with the goal more so than the performance, boys. But KJ, the goal from Garnacho today. Talk to me.
Listen, did someone order an Ollie special? Individual brilliance. Martial and Rashford on the goal sheet. Bruno Fernandes with an assist. And you know what? A bit of hectic defending from the Choco Brothers at the back with Lindelof and Maguire. It felt like old times. It felt like Ollie was there reincarnated on the sideline in Van der Gaag. You know what I'm saying? But the goal, Terry, oh my Lord. When I was watching the game, I was very nervous about this match. I didn't think we'll come out with a win. I thought with everything that's going on with the club and everything that's going on with Everton as well, I thought they'll just come and give it to us and we would fold at some point during the game. When I saw that cross go in and my man put his body in the air and recreated Rooney, I was gone. I was like, what the hell? I was like, yes. And like that goal is amazing. No one can take it away from him. That goal is one of the best goals the Premier League will ever see. Because to do it in the pressure of going to an away game, being so young, being part of a team that is so maligned by not just the fan base of their own club, but also the media, also rivals. To do that, to say F you to everybody, love that. Absolutely wonderful goal.
Yeah,
and I'm happy
it certainly was. Staffy, a lot of people are saying the best ever overhead kick goal. How good does the technique have to be to travel backwards 5 steps, fly through the air in the opposite direction, and put it into the top corner like that?
KJ, as KJ said it gave me Rooney flashbacks. And I'll tell you something, I missed that Rooney goal a few years ago when he scored that. I didn't get to see it live. So I'm glad that I got to see the replay of it, the recreation of it. Because the minute I saw that cross, I was like, what is he doing here? And then I see the ball hit the back of the net. I was like, nah, there's no way he just scored this. Because I just killed him on my match preview. I said he's so shit, this and that. And I apologized to him just for the goal. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to carry away more than that. It's just the goal. Listen, thank you for the moment. It's a great goal. It's a great goal. But I actually didn't want you to ask me about that. I wanted you to ask me about the DM. Can you ask me about the DM thing?
We'll get into that. We're going to try and structure the show. We'll do goal. We'll do Mainoo.
So can you save me to that? Because that's the part that I want to talk about. Listen,
okay,
class goal. Absolutely class goal. I think I will talk a little bit about it because I think it did really, really help us at the time that they scored it. Well, we scored in the second minute. In a toxic environment like that, the atmosphere was, you guys saw the build up to the game. Like they were very loud. They were very energetic. I was worried about losing because I knew the occasion itself was going to play a part. It's a big game for them after they're losing the 10 points. They were coming in. They were smelling blood. They know we haven't been the best. And I think that goal stunned everyone. It stunned the fans. It stunned the Everton players. It stunned our own players. But it gave us a good stun. We're like, wow, we're actually good. Did you see this goal we just scored? Now let's go and build on it. And I felt like the time of it really played in our hands because eventually you saw they grew into the game, but it just delayed because of the goal that we scored. I feel like it took them like 20 minutes to finally get in the game. It
Yeah.
had us on the ropes in the last 15 minutes. But that goal for me kind of saved us some time until that happens because they should have been playing like that from minute one. I'm talking about Everton. But that goal itself, listen, I celebrated the goal crazy. So great.
Oh, you didn't do it. You didn't do a league gunner and say "F him." I'm not celebrating.
You know what it is, Terry? As much as you guys like to say I'm a league gunner, as much as these players I don't like, I am a United fan at the end of the day. It's like, you know, when you're mad at your kids, Terry, you're mad at your kids, but they do something well. You're happy, you know, because they did something good. Even if you're mad at them at the moment because they did something wrong, but like you still love them, they're your kids. That's how it is with United for me. As much as I get angry at United, and there's a lot of things that I complain about, the goal gets scored, and my instant reaction is to celebrate. It's just like
I'm telling you this now. My kids wish that I love them as much as I love Man United. I'm telling you that now. But sorry, babies. I'm sorry if none of you are watching, but yeah, I love you all. Hannah, that goal, I think Staffy Paul's on a great point. That goal came at such an important time because in the whole build up to this game, it was the opening 10, 15, 20 minutes is going to be too much for Man United to handle. So not only was it a great time to score, but maybe the greatest goal we'll witness all season.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, first of all, a goal scored from a forward. And in the first 5 minutes, I was like, am I watching this? It was amazing. And I was so happy for him because he always gets a lot of stick on social media, Garnacho. And again, they're all under so much pressure because our forward statistics with like goals and assists this season has been really bad. So the fact that all of our goals today as well came from 3 attackers was really nice, and it was refreshing to have, and they were all really good goals as well, like all good quality, nice goals to see. So everyone's saying it's just Everton. Like I went into that game today thinking we'd lose, like, you know, the kind of ropey wins that we've had, scraping 1-0, like that's our biggest win in the season so far, isn't it? I think. So I'll take it. Like I think we should be happy.
Absolutely. I think we all take it. It was just nice. And when the third goal went in, my brother and me were watching it together and it went in. I was like, I can actually, for the first time this season, sit back and relax for the last 15 to 20 minutes of a game. And I can't tell you, for my anxiety, that was amazing. It was so good. I actually haven't felt like that for about 9 months watching Manchester United play. More on the goal to come later, but I did want to, I have to talk. I'm chomping at the bit to speak about Kobbie Mainoo, and I am going to come to you, Staffy, don't worry about that, but I want to go Sunshine first on this because this is a player that everybody's wanted in the team for such a long time. He gets the injury in the summer. He starts today, and a lot of people question the manager. Why start him in this game with the pressure that's on it? But young Kobbie stepped up today, and he put in a very mature, top-class performance, I felt. What was your take on him today?
Oh, sorry, I think it's froze my end. I don't know. Can you hear me, boy?
Yeah? You're back now, Matt. You're back.
All right, cool. No worries. If it cuts out, I'll jump back out and come back in. But yeah, man. Listen, I'm so happy, man, because last season, even before last season, I was raving about Kobbie Mainoo, and it fell on deaf ears, man. It fell on deaf ears, and rightly so, because most people wanted a bigger sample size. But the first thing I ever saw from Kobbie Mainoo was and again, not today. This is the first time actually ever watching the kid. There was a time when the ball came into midfield. And he had two opposition players coming in at him, and he's literally shielded one on his step, taken a touch of his left foot on the inside to take it away from the second man, and then knocked it past the third man that was oncoming and switched it to I think it was the right back. And I was like, how are you doing that? To me, that's high IQ. You're playing football like you're 30 years old. And from then, I've always screamed about him and said, he's ready. Sometimes some players, you need time, and you have to look at them and go, I need a bit more of a sample size. Some plays you just know, if you know ball good enough from a high technical standpoint, you will just know he's good enough. And I've been screaming out for him. And it's no joke, Terry, that in pre-season he was getting starts and he looked like he was going to be a main part of the Ten Hag system. And I know I spoke about Frankie de Jong before as a profile player in that 6th role, but today you really saw that similar profile in Kobbie Mainoo. Yes, he's 18. I can appreciate that. But we're talking about a freak of nature of 18. We're not talking about just some 18-year-old. So let's not do no disjustice to, Kobbie Mainoo saying he's showing up players like McTominay, because he's a freak of nature. to be able to play the way he plays. And what he did in that 6 role today is absolutely everything that Ten Hag's been screaming for his system. And this is why I always bang on about profiles being so important when you're trying to build and go and play the way you want to play. So for me, course man of the match, and it's so refreshing to see that you just come back from an injury, come straight into the team, and you just played like you've never left. That should tell you enough about this kid's mentality. It's normal for him. What we saw today is normal. It's natural. And that shouldn't be natural for any 18-year-old. He is a freak of nature. He's incredible, man. So, you know, long may he stay fit, man. God bless him and all that, man, because that kid, man, trust me, it looks like he's still going into flipping, like, what's the remember school dinners back in the day used to wait for your cue? Like, just stand there. He looks like the quietest kid in school who just stand there waiting for his dinner in the line, bro. He got mad talent, bro. Like,
he certainly has. And I will come to Cam. I know Cam hasn't spoke yet, but Staffy, I know this is a player that you have been waiting for all year. You've raved about him. And look, for an 18, look, no one wants to get carried away, but there's been very few 18-year-olds midfielders in Man United's history that have come in and played like that straight away. How good was he today, in your opinion?
No, you can have these conversations, Terry. I've been talking about this since the summer. So if anyone wants to sit here and say, "Oh my God, look, he's overreacting. You only beat Everton," no. Everyone here, especially Terry, knows I've been talking about this since the summer. Because I don't care what people said. I've said before, if he's good enough, he's old enough. Everyone said you're waiting on an 18-year-old to save your season. That's never what I said. I came here and been called negative so many times because I wanted the change in the profile of the 6. I said I don't want Casemiro for obvious reasons. And I said, wait until Mainoo is back and you'll see what he'll do in this midfield. I got called crazy. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about, this, and that. Our best performance so far this season from a 6, when you look at all the games, besides probably the Amrabat debut one, which was very good against the Palace team in the League Cup, was today. This is the best performance we've seen from a 6 in our team all season. The kid is 18, okay? He played the most mature football on the pitch today, and he's the youngest one. He was the best midfielder on both sides. Our midfield didn't even play good today. Collectively, we didn't look good in the midfield. But individually, he did everything right. And as Sunshine said, the way he was shielding the ball, the way he was taking a touch, the way he was taking a step, everything he did today was class. He didn't put a foot wrong. And when we talk, and I said this before, and I'm going to say it again, and I make it very clear. When people rave about Zaire Emery from PSG, even though he's 16, 17, when people rave about Yamal from Barcelona, and he's also 17, I'm putting Kobbie Mainoo in the same conversation. If you guys want to glorify them because they're players that play in teams that you rate in outside in leagues outside of the Premier League, I am putting Kobbie Mainoo in the same conversation because he's our best 6. I was worried about him. I won't lie though. I was worried about him because of the occasion, and I said it's one of two things today. He's either going to sink or swim. There's no in between. Because going to Everton away as a lone 6 when you haven't played all season, all our 6s struggled this season. We all spoke about our 6s struggling. He's the only one that we've seen this season that didn't look he was struggling. So when United fans are scared to say, listen, we don't want to jump the gun, we don't want to say this and that, I am telling you, as much as people like to call me negative, I'm being positive today. I am telling you to say it with chest. We have a generational number 6 in our team. Bro, come on. Me and Neji are sitting here agreeing. If we're agreeing, you know we're doing something right. We're never agreeing. So that says something, you know?
For me, do you know what's interesting? You can have players at this age that are ready. Now, he ain't going to be able to play every game in a season because you've got to rotate. But you can't play a 25-year-old in every game in a season. You can't play a 30-year-old in every game. Duncan Edwards was this good at 18 years of age. He just was. Paul Scholes, when he came into the Man United team, was already of a top class level. So Bobby Charlton, when he came into the Man United team as a teenager, was of a top class level almost straight away. We have seen Caicedo come into the Premier League, slightly older, but just be brilliant straight away. Declan Rice, it took a long time for people to rave about him. But this guy's been brilliant since he started playing for West Ham. So it's not like we're talking about Kobbie Mainoo in a very obscure way, like we've never seen a player at 18 who's about to turn 19 be very good. And do you know what a little bit stood out to me today? There's a moment in the first half, I want to say it was about 20 minutes into the game, and we were down, as you're watching on your TV screens, it would have been in sort of the bottom left corner near our own box, and the ball got passed into him, and I was nervous because he had 2 or 3 players around him. And he dropped his shoulder, turned, moved away from 2 or 3 players pressing him, and played a simple, safe crossfield pass to Lindelof. Now, to a lot of people, that will be, I see that all the time. Well, yeah, you will if you're a City fan because you've got Rodri. You know, you will if you're an Arsenal fan because you've got Declan Rice. We haven't seen that consistently with that much ease at Man United, in my opinion, since Michael Carrick, Paul Scholes, and Hargreaves were running our midfield, and that was 15 years ago. And I don't want to, again, there's going to be peaks and troughs in this player, but the talent is 110% genuine in this kid, and I think we saw it today in heaps and bounds. There's no doubt. Cam, what was your take on him today? And is he a player now that you think should be starting regularly, irrespective of being 18, or should he be used sparingly? What's your thoughts?
Start him. Why not? I have no issue with starting him. I do have issue with. I mean, shout out Indiana. He's been screaming for him for a long time. I have the issue I have with any 18-year-old or something, like they can't be your savior. Like you cannot put that much pressure on one kid that age. I don't care how good they are. It's just not fair. But that being said, start him. He's good enough. He should be starting. Like, let's be honest, when we were watching in the preseason, I think what happened, which is kind of sad, is like he was fully part of the plan. He was a bit like he was part of the whole midfield setup. It's what we needed. It was what we saw.
Cam, he started 3 games in a row.
No, yeah, I know.
And he started against Real Madrid.
It was very clear he was going to be the guy, one of the guys, not the guy, but one of them, right? And then everything kind of went sideways when he got hurt. And yes, managers should have backup plans, but when you manage Man United, you don't get backup plans, unfortunately. You get told to work with what you have. That's why Scott McTominay is still here, and that's why Staffy made a very good point. Our midfield didn't look good because, once again, Scott McTominay in our midfield does not look good. Man thinks he's playing for Scotland and is always getting way too forward and just doing dumb shit. Like at one point, I remember he took the ball off Rashford coming back, and Rashford just like stopped and looked at him like, man, what are you doing? Like, so there's still that problem with the midfield balance, but Mainoo it's a breath of fresh air. It was fun to watch somebody make the right decision every time he touched the ball. Like, I'll say that every time I watched him, he made the right decision. It was a simple play, either there was the right pass back. He looked forward more than anybody else. It was just always the right. It's what Staffy, I will give you credit for this, is what you always kind of rave about, keeping the ball, right? We know Bruno's, that's not what he does. Bruno's not looking to keep the ball. He's looking to find that big pass, but Mainoo looked for the right pass, and we need that. So I'm really excited about him and the team. I think we just can't put our hopes on one player, but let's keep starting him. Long may it continue. And I wanted to say one thing about the Garnacho goal, because you asked everybody, is it the best they've seen? There is one I've seen better, just one, and it's Bale in the Champions League final. I would say I think that was very close, very similar in the say going away from his body, the way he rose up. But that goal, guys, it was depressing for me because I was making my coffee. I was in no rush to start the game. I was in no rush. I turn on the game and I see 1-0 up, and I go, I gotta rewind.
You probably thought it was a tap, and you're like, I missed shit goal.
You see
the replay.
This was a weird one for me because obviously I saw this one. I was at Old Trafford when Rooney scored his. I watched Rooney's live, and it was just, and that was great, but also horrible because it was, I want to see it again, but I had to wait because there's no replays and no screens at Old Trafford. It was like, I couldn't, but I did believe what he did, but we were all sort of asking each other, did he just do that? But there's no replay, nothing. So it was nice to actually see replays on it today.
I rewinded it, so I watched it, and I was so excited about the goal. I was like, no way did I see what I just saw. I went to my missus, who does not give a shit about sports or football, and I go, I'm sorry, you got to watch this.
I did the same thing.
She's like, what's happening? Nothing's happening. I'm like, just wait for it. Just wait. Boom! And she's like,
wait, literally, that replay came up. I was like, babe, come here, watch this. I was watching my phone at our house.
The goal was so good. In terms of other elements of the game today, KJ, what did you make of Man United overall? What did you make of our performance? A lot of people are calling me out because obviously I've stated that I think Ten Hag's taken us as far as we can. Were there green shoots of improvement? Was it good, the bad, the ugly? What did you make of the overall performance from Man United?
As overall performance, especially that first half, it was not good. Like, we got that first goal, and I was hoping that goal would inspire us to, play some football and get on the front foot. And we just reverted back to type. Sat back, we allowed Everton to have the ball a lot. We allowed them to progress through the midfield and in the wide areas way too easily. And shout out to Onana today because he saved us of quite a few goals today, especially in that first half. He has improved so much, and without him today, we concede at least 2 today, and we need to improve that as a team. And seeing Kobbie Mainoo fit into that midfield is great, but then when you've got McTominay and he's still using this tactic with Bruno, making him drop deep, it just there's no point of Mainoo playing so well if you've got these guys doing what they're doing. Rashford, the forwards again today, it just wasn't clicking that much. Like there's little bits there, here and there, but overall as a team, we're still not cohesive. We're still unable to pass the ball out from the back. And I had a conversation with my dad just before I came on, and he's saying he can't. My standard, he said my standards are like unrealistically too high. I was like, what do you mean? Like all I want him to do is play decent. Even I don't expect him to win every game. He goes, in terms of because of the so many injuries and so many key players are out, I shouldn't expect them to play a certain way. But I said to him, Dad, it's not about playing like Barcelona. It's literally just about having a base level where you can look and see cohesion in the team. And right now, we don't really see it. And I call it an Ollie special because it felt like what Ollie would do sometimes, where the moment of brilliance, you get a penalty, and then because the game's so far away from the opposition team, the game opens up and we end up scoring more goals. So there's a lot more improvements, especially in that midfield cohesion and the forward line. We need to improve more. But shout out to Onana as well, because Mainoo and Garnacho will get their
your dad makes a good point, I think, when it comes.
No, I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying he's wrong. He makes a great point.
Your dad's a hush, man. No, I'm joking.
but that makes a great point. But at the same time, it's when I see Luton Town and Everton and all these smaller teams, Sheffield United, Burnley, play better football than us with teams that even with our injured team is not as good as our team.
Well, if you think back to the earlier game today, Spurs had a lot of players out there. None of us would want anywhere near our club, and they moved the ball well. I think they got the game management wrong. They put too much energy, too much effort into the first 45 minutes and died. The game management was off, but the style of football is there, and that is an area still for me. And look, I suppose the question is, I'm going to ask Hannah this question. Would most teams, irrespective of their season, struggled in that first half against Everton based on what they've been through this week, the atmosphere, the very strange corrupt cards? I still don't understand how the Premier League are corrupt for punishing you for a rule that you admitted you broke. No one's explained that to me. But do you think a lot of teams would have struggled there today due to that factor?
Yeah, I mean, I think Goodison Park on a normal day is one of those away. I mean, no away game in the Premier League is easy, but it's one of those places that you go to thinking, it's going to be a tough crowd. And like it was, and the corrupt cards were silly, and it did look a bit ridiculous. But I mean, fair play to them. They're going to do what they're going to do in that regard. But I think the first 45 minutes, I don't know if that was a reflection of the struggle from the reception from the crowd, but obviously second half was much better. But I think, any team would have struggled, but we should and could have done better that first half. Definitely, we weren't good enough in that first half. Like
they struggled with our hold up play. I will tell you that we didn't have enough good players to hold up the ball today, and you saw that especially in the second, in the last I would say 20 minutes of the first half. They kind of had us on the ropes. I'm not gonna lie. Beginning with that one clearance that Kobbie Mainoo had off the line when it ricocheted off Maguire's body. Our hold-up was a struggle, but when you look at the personnel that we had, Martial wasn't really involved in the first half. He's physically still not there, even though he scored. Rashford hold-up play is not there. Bruno's hold-up play is not there. McTominay's hold-up play is not there. And Garnacho's hold-up play is not there. So I'm not surprised that we couldn't hold up the ball. Every time we won it, we couldn't really hold it for about 10 seconds. So that eventually will prove. You could tell that 100% we did miss Højlund for that aspect because he's good at winning the ball. He's good at holding the ball. He wins fouls. He moves the ball around well. That aspect we struggled from. I will say, though, that we played similar to how, and I don't know if you guys noticed that, we played very similar to how we started against Copenhagen until that red card and last game. When you look at the goal that we scored, do you guys remember the first goal we scored against Copenhagen? It was Rashford played it. Was it Bissaka or Dalot that they playing on the right?
Bissaka.
I think it was Bissaka.
Yeah.
Same idea. Cross into the box. The other one was a cut into Højlund. Scored. This one was a cross. But it was the same exact build-up, which is why he's still using Rashford on the right. I was a little bit surprised that he played Mainoo and Shaw today because I thought he's going to keep him because Mainoo's been available, if you guys remember. He just hasn't been using it. I thought he's going to wait a little bit more until he gets
come back from fitness. So he had a game as on the under 18s, I think it was. Or under
he played him a couple under 21 games.
Fitness wasn't there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's had a couple. He's had
But-
like 3 games as well.
Yeah.
Under in the under 21s, I did think he was gonna hold him until he gets some of his players back, which is why I'm not surprised he played him today because he played Shaw, and here's the reason why. I think today he focused more on the build up from the back because he knows with Shaw that he does get a little bit of a build up. Regulon doesn't give you that, and Wan-Bissaka doesn't give you that when he plays the low on the left. He know that with Shaw today he could get an extra man in that back line. That not only is he good if he inverts him into the midfield and Kobbie drops, it could be the other way around. And he focused on that today. Our build-up was not bad today in the first phase. It's just like when you go into the midfield and the front line, we didn't have enough players that holds the ball, which is why he still played on the wings, which is why Rashford was still on the right and McTominay is in that middle. I think the minute we get Eriksen back, we get Højlund back, we get a couple more players back in that midfield, he will try to go back and implement what he was trying to do in preseason, which is holding the ball and building the ball from the middle. Because if you notice, we don't build anything from the middle now. McTominay is so high up the pitch. Rashford is hugging the wing. We're relying on crosses. I mean, we scored from a cross today. Cross, overlap, same thing. We've done that for 3 games so far, and it's been getting us results. And I think slowly, he's going to start to implement that build-up from the middle again. He got Kobbie now. He got Shaw now. I think the next important one is going to be Martinez. Martinez and Eriksen are going to be very important for him in that midfield to go back to where he used to try to do. And I think until then, we're going to continue to see Rashford on the right.
That makes a lot of sense. Just let you know, your mic is kind of cutting in and out a bit. I don't know if the connection.
Yeah. I've been told I need to fix it. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, cool. I just want to let you know, just in case it
I
might just
think
be
he's
like.
trying to adjust it. We'll talk afterwards.
Yeah.
New mic, I gotta adjust it. Sorry.
Yeah, there's an interesting comment here, super chat, that says, I know people think McTominay hides and doesn't do his job with Kobbie, but TiVo Football did a video on what he does, and it makes sense in games. I haven't seen the video, so I don't quite know what you're alluding to. This is the situation, how I see it. It's never just on one person. Like Bruno Fernandes has his flaws. I'm very aware of what they are. We all know what they are. So if you're going to have him in the team, you've got to have people around him that are going to complement that. The problem is with Man United, we're always unbalanced. So we have too many players that do the Hollywood balls. We have too many players that maybe can't hold up play. And we don't have enough that can do what Kobbie does. If you have 3 or 4 more Kobbies in different positions that can hold up play, that are very comfortable in possession, the Rashfords and the Brunos, when it comes to their sort of, sometimes their ill discipline on the ball, you don't notice it as much. And that's why it's about balance. And that's what Man United lack. We often have too much of the same type of player and it causes problems. Then what we do is we scapegoat the ones that we don't like. That's atypically what we do as Man United fans, as an example. Just like Sunshine did earlier on in the season with Onana. It's a joke. I'm joking when I say that.
Actually, it's a good reminder.
I wanted to ask you about him, Sunshine. How much do you think he's improved in recent weeks, especially like commanding the box, saves, etc.? Have you seen a marked improvement in Onana?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I said it on the last stream, and it's quite ironic because everyone was screaming about Onana coming in for his kicking, and again, it's been his saving ability and his commanding of the box in certain areas that have been the key thing that's been standing out for him. So, look, my criticism was very, very fair of Onana in terms of I just didn't think we needed him because, again, if you're coming in for shot stopping, no problem. We already had a shot stopper. But the other key areas that he does have over De Gea is he's more commanding in that box for crosses, especially for crosses, corners, and doesn't mind taking an impact as well. So for me, that's the only improvement I've seen on the goalkeeping situation. The kicking's malarkey. For me personally, it will only improve until you get those profiles in there, which is, again, exactly what I stated before. It's pointless being able to kick the ball at the back if you ain't got players that can hold up the ball. Staffy alluded to it with Højlund. Makes no sense if you haven't got players that can stick the ball, you know, or win the first ball in the air. It makes no sense to me. So I still think it's a regression in that side of things. But the part where he's actually keeping the ball out of the back of the net, which was the main thing I focused on, that's the bit that I wanted personally, and he's doing that. And it shows today. The clean sheet happened. I think 3 key saves, if I'm being fair, especially the one in the second half. I think was it Idrissa Gueye who swerved it out to the
it was a
beautiful save. I mean, we've seen De Gea do that. It's no issue. So that's not a disrespect, but that's what you need. You need to maintain that. And I've always said, if you're going to change the goalkeeper, make sure you improve the pros as well as the cons. Do you know what I mean? Not just one for another, because otherwise it's not going to balance out. So for me, it's an incredible performance from Onana, and you know, long may it continue. That penalty save, pretty much similar to De Gea when he saved Mata's free kick, was a turning point, or so it seems. So it
does. And look, and again, I was only having a bit of a joke, you know, along with knowing each other, and I'm just now seeing the goalie that I was so excited about us bringing in. Strong hands, get into these saves, and I'm now starting to feel. I got to a point maybe 5 games ago where every time there's a shot at him, I was like, oh, holding my breath. Now I'm not even, unless that shot looks super dangerous, I almost start looking around the pitch before it's even got to him. What's he going to do with it when he gets it? Because I'm very comfortable in what he's doing. Have you noticed that as well, Han? That he's really sort of settling in now at Old Trafford?
Yeah, I think since that buying game, I think he's been the kind of player that we all thought he was in the summer, you know, after that Champions League final. But it's just nice to see him get some confidence, because I know it's part of being a United player, but he's been like hounded, he's been bantered, and it's just nice to see like someone who's got probably the hardest job like gaining his confidence. So I think he'll be great. I think he'll be, you know, he'll get to the point of the De Gea shot stopping levels that we've seen, but he's definitely much more, like you say, Terry, commanding in the box. And it's just nice to watch, because before, like, players would kind of bully him, and now he's kind of got, like you say, in the last few games, he's got a bit more respect about him, I think. And yeah, it's just nice to see.
He has
He's basically
he's the joint.
stood up, though.
So just a quick stat. He's the joint leading goalkeeper for clean sheets with 5.
Say that louder. Say that louder.
He's the joint leading goalkeeper for clean sheets with 5 with Sam Johnston and Nick Pope.
So the thing that I love about what he's done is every time he messed up, and a lot of people were like, we don't want to hear about the apologies or the ownership. Like, I thought that was important. So at some points I didn't say. I think it is important when a player in his role does say, I know it's all, like, didn't come out and blame other people. He's like, I'm fully aware that I'm a problem right now, which tells me he's going to do something about it. Like, when players come out and they dismiss it, I mean, we all had problems when Maguire would always say, like, it's the forwards, it's this or that, when you don't have that introspective. Actually, it's a bigger problem, because you're like, so you truly think you're okay. You're not going to do anything to fix it. So Onana got his head on straight. And it's real tough when you come into a league, you come to Man United, you come to a team that's just discombobulated with injuries. Like, even right now, like, listen, we all hate on Maguire, but a big part of why Onana's probably doing well is he's got a settled front 2 in front of him at the moment. Like, we've had the same center backs for a bit, and Maguire's been decent. Like, he has been good. I cannot say he hasn't been. So I do think that helps the keeper with a little bit of confidence as well. You know that you're not going into every game about to get, even though he did have a couple of shots put on him, but he had help today. Like, he did have help. They helped him clear balls off the line. They were there. The team was there with him too. So I love what I'm seeing from him. I would love to see the kicking come back, but we know until Martinez comes back, we know until we have a midfielder in there with Mainoo or somebody who can hold, it's not going to happen. So Sunshine was right. Like, no one can say anything about it. Like, shot stopping was never our problem with De Gea. And then when it went away, all of a sudden we lost an aspect that saved us in so many games. Was a keeper who could do this. So we need that. We need it.
100%. I'm being called out here in this super chat from Olu, who says, Terry, you're fake as fuck. Keep that same energy you had for Arteta. For Ten Hag. Out. No new friends. No new friends. Man had injuries all year, but loving on 10th place. But you loving on 10th place Chelsea. So this is the interesting thing. So first and foremost, I won't ever ignore super chats. There's no block him. No, and I won't get offended. No mod, leave him alone. It's fine. My energy for Ten Hag hasn't changed. All that I am doing is, I think I'm being the opposite of fake. So I disagree with, but I think Lee's reaction yesterday to his team winning in the last minute to go top and being annoyed about it, I could never do. Even if a player that I don't rate, or a manager I think is taking us as far as he can, by the way, based on things that he has said, and we win and we play well, we have some good moments, I'm going to celebrate it. What I'm not going to do is create an agenda, and no matter what happens, maintain my anger and my frustration. That's just not me as a person. In terms of loving on Chelsea, it's not true. I spoke about it yesterday. I spoke about it in a video earlier on today about where the criticism needs to come. At the same time, when I've praised Chelsea, it's that I think they are going to get it right. And I spoke about the medium to long term with them, as opposed to they're brilliant right now. And at the same time, I do think that performances are more sustainable than results over a prolonged period of time. And I think we have to stop viewing football sometimes through this lens of the here and now. I understand why. the kind of what have you done for me lately approach. But football doesn't end at the end of this season. It is a continuous cycle. So sometimes not every decision can be for the best for your team and club now. You have to future plan at the same time. How do I know this? You read the books or listen to the sort of people that run the greatest clubs in the world. That's exactly how they did it. So this isn't me stating this is what you should do. It's the greatest people in the world. But I appreciate the super chat, brother. Thank you. Big up, Terry. You've got a star in Staffy. It's a nice one there. Staffy getting more love than me. The first game of the season.
He's my guy from Long Island. Long Island's finest.
You're still
beat to Omar. No, he's not. I met him. He watches my channel, but he's from Long Island, so he's a local for me. Big up.
Okay. The first game of the season with a proper-ish back four. Mainoo could be the cheapest replacement for Keno. Garnacho, fick me, is what Cedric says here. Ginger Bish says, proud of the team today. I can't even say Garnacho. Here we go.
Ginger Bish. What a great name. Love that.
Yeah. Ginger Bish. Terry, please do watch alongs. Your reaction was great. Oh, yeah. We were live with the Spurs reaction when the goal went in. I think like the energy for watch alongs plus match reactions, that would mean me doing like 5 watch-alongs, 6 watch-alongs a weekend with 6. I'd die, I think. I think I have no energy left. Kobbie Mainoo. Mm-hmm. Congrats, Man United fans. Mainoo, real deal. Play him more. I agree.
Yeah, he's the truth,
I think teams should play youth more than play more. I don't know what that's meant to say. Older players, I'm going to assume is what you mean. You got to get the balance right, I think. United are back low, back to 0 goal difference.
We're the strangest team. We are the strangest team. 2 seasons ago, we ended up with 0 goal difference in the entire season. And we are straight. Last season, we had, I think, 13 goal difference and finished 3rd. This season, again, we are back to 0.
But mate, we are a strange team. You're spot on. You just look at they always. This is the thing. We can't not treat Man United like we talk about every other club. And everybody says that the league table doesn't lie. Is that a correct statement? But I've heard that from most people. We are 6th. We are 6th, but we've got 8 wins. Only Man City and Arsenal have more wins than us this season on 9 each. So this is what's so weird about this team. And we're strange.
Do you remember when? So it was a few years back.
Only team in the league with no draws, by the way.
Yeah. But do you remember a few years back when we had Mourinho? And I can't remember. It was either Mourinho or Conte. One of them said it, but they made a line about like, oh, look at the record. We've barely like lost any games or whatever. And Mourinho goes, it was Mourinho, and he goes, look at Chelsea though. He's like, I'm sure they had more losses than us, but he's like, I'm sure if we could have turned more of our draws into wins, we'd be happier and be in a better position. Like at the end of the day, the 1 point is important, but winning is more important. So like we're still in a situation when you look at the table, we're right there because we're winning games where some teams are now, they're getting that 1 point, you're limping over the line and you're kind of saying like, cool, you got the 1 point, but it doesn't matter if you're not winning games. So like Moo pointed that out years ago, and you just got to keep winning. I think
you know what it is? It's because when we lose bad. So we don't lose just like normally, like a close 2-1.
We don't win big.
No, we had a few close losses. The Palace game,
we've had a few, but traditionally, like right now, we just lose badly.
No, like, KJ, man, that's
bad. No.
Listen, the City one, City Spurs, and Brighton. Those were convincing.
That's it.
The Arsenal game we should have seen out because it was 1-1 at the 94th minute. We should have gotten a point from that. And the Palace game, we lost 1-0. They scored a goal and they didn't do anything for the remainder of the game. They scored in like.
I'd even go as far as saying, and we've all said it for the whole season from start. The decisions that have been so inconsistent for us that would have got us 3 points, we would not be sitting here having these conversations. And this is why I've been saying, even from the start of the season, performances, have been decent, but the results have masked the performances, which has made people forget about the decent performances we've started with. We did enough to go and beat Spurs in that first half, weren't clinical enough, which is, again, something myself and I think a couple of you guys have said as well, where we can't put the ball in the back of the net and we're struggling with goals. So, respectfully, when you look at it with perspective, we aren't as bad as what people have made out. It's just bad based on results.
Yeah, let me change the wording. It's when we lose, it's perceived that we lose badly. Like it always feels like we lose badly, even if it's by one goal. It's
Because
the
performances have
performances.
been bad as
It's
well.
the
So when
performances
you're
that
getting
we
Like,
knocked,
we haven't looked
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
I think that's what you meant. Because we just
I
haven't
think, like
looked
you
good.
said, we should have beaten Tottenham, and we or should have scored. We didn't. We thought we'd beaten Arsenal, and we didn't. The Palace game's weird. We still should have won that game, even though we conceded. So I do get where you're coming from. What's also interesting, though, is the form guide here. In the last 6 games, we have 15 points. Arsenal was second on 13 points. Villa 13 points. Liverpool 12 points. City 11 points. Strangely, I want to Don, if you're watching, bro, who told me Chelsea in the same 6 games only 8 points. Chelsea, and that's only at Don because the way he was coming for me. But yeah, look, it's
we
funny.
all know Don waffles a lot. I
funny.
saw him in the comments, by the way, saying, "Oh, he's making fun of me because I said Kobe's generational." I'll tell you what, my generation with number 18 is gonna have a better Premier League career than your 115 million midfielder, and he could take that one to the bank. And I'll tell you that we'll review this in a couple seasons when he gets shipped to another league or something because he can't do it in the Premier
Well, he's not even gonna stay.
I don't remind you
Oh,
that.
thanks, Staffy.
Wow.
He's not going to be in the league in a couple of years, bro. They spent 115 million for a midfielder that's struggling in the league. My 18-year-old looked like he belonged here. He
Doesn't
was
mean
shielding
Mainoo.
2 players.
KJ, it doesn't mean Mainoo. It means the Chelsea guy.
No,
No,
I
no,
mean
no.
Mainoo.
No, mate,
I'm
he's
saying
gonna get Mainoo's
Mainoo
gonna
is
get-
going to be in this
No.
league.
Other
than
He said
Enzo.
Chelsea's player will get shipped from abroad.
Oh,
Yeah.
Enzo's been
No,
shipped off.
Mainoo will
Oh,
stay. Enzo will be shipped
Funny that
abroad.
you say that. I shared the video of Garnacho's goal and said like the greatest ever Premier League overhead kick or something. And someone replied, and I have to admit this is a great reply. I need to read you this because I thought it was funny, right? And you'll probably agree with this. To be fair, Staffy, it said, "Oh, please, where's it gone? I need to find it because it genuinely was funny." Where's it gone? Here you go. It goes, great goal, that. Clap, clap, clap emoji. Villarreal fans will love him when he ends up playing for him.
I mean,
Oh,
it's
that is
fair.
quite funny and quite witty. We've got a super chat here that says United fans saying, Man United fans saying you are right there. They are tied for the most losses in the top 10. But this is the thing, we are, but we also have 8 wins and we're a handful of points away. And look, if I don't know if the manager can do this, but if we suddenly start getting better performances, clicking into gear, it's not as the good thing about only being a handful of points away is that remember that season when Ollie came in at the back end of the season, we were good when Jose was sacked, but there was such a big gap between us and the top 4, we couldn't quite close it. If Ollie would have come in and we're only 2 points off the top 4, it would have been a very different conversation. And I think to have had the season we have, with 9-10 defeats in our opening 18 games in all comps, to only be 6 points off the top of the Premier League demonstrates the quality of player in our squad, even though as a collective, it's been very incohesive would be the word I would use. But look, I want to thank everybody who's tuned into the show tonight. My panel, as ever, amazing, brilliant, glamorous, and much, much more. Super chatters, you're the best. Everyone who subscribes, thank you. Please hit the like button before you leave. But I want to say a massive congratulations to a brilliant starting debut performance today from Kobbie Mainoo. And of course, Alejandro Garnacho with one of the greatest goals you will witness in the Premier League ever. Take a bow, son. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again very, very soon.